Choice. It's the best part of being a real person, but if used incorrectly can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations, or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Well, I hope you made the choice to invest some of your savings in crypto, gold, and silver a long time ago, because, oh boy, it's getting wild. Just as Russia declared that they will tie rubles in the future to 5,000 rubles per gram of gold, BlackRock exec says that the entitled generation will have to start sacrificing. The German government is shocked that the Russians actually go through with their declaration that they will only accept ruble for oil and gas in the future. As a retaliation, just after governments all over the world violated private property rights and seized private property of people just because they happened to be holders of Russian citizenship. Just when you think that it cannot get much worse with the fall of the petrodollar and the resulting crumbling Western economy, Biden doubles down on his demand for regime change in Russia and declares that he doesn't rule out the nuclear first strike against the very same. But besides the looming danger of thermonuclear World War III, nuclear holocaust, the end of mankind and the world as we know it, this situation has also some positive aspects, like for instance the introduction of a gold standard through the ruble, which will finally allow us to trade Bitcoin with a non-fiat paper currency. All we can hope is that the global superpower like the United States, China and Russia all realize that turning each other into nuclear dust will neither defend the American way of life, nor will it do anything to keep the petrodollar alive. We can only hope that cool heads in the Pentagon and the Kremlin prevail and that this situation can be solved peacefully. Nevertheless, I would suggest to you to buy a Geiger counter just for the worst case scenario and find some nice underground place like a garage, buying enough water supply to last you for 2 weeks, as well as a lot of dried, long-lasting packaged food, all nicely stashed down there, so that you can go down there and find shelter in case nukes drop after all. So far it looks pretty okay from the Russian side, so they're pretty much getting out of this whole thing unharmed. The ruble didn't take long-term damage and is recovering again. and also their military operation seems to go pretty okay. So if you look at that here, at that report the Russians give out, their military operation seems to be nearly over. So there is no reason why they would actually do something insane, drop a nuke on that place or whatever. Therefore, from their side, there is actually no reason to go super hyper ballistic. I'm just worried that we might end up with some kind of a Doctor Strangelove scenario where some general or maybe even the president of the United States goes very funny in his head and does a very silly thing, which might trigger a response in kind. Especially considering that Russia actually has some kind of a doomsday device, like depicted in Doctor Strangelove. That means with one ICBM launched on Russia, they might trigger an automated response by their dead hand system, which is from the Cold War era, in which Doctor Strangelove played, and is basically like the system in the movie, a bunch of computers hooked up together reacting to missile launches. We already have seen once the dead hand system in action, and only thanks to this guy, Stanislav Petrov, who stopped the missile launch, World War III was averted. So from that we can guess that the dead hand system has some safety precautions which allow human intervention. But still, it's very worrisome that the system, like depicted in Doctor Strangelove, actually exists. And that it's very much possible that something like General Ripper actually might launch a missile on his own. It's not a far stretch from talking about white rage to talking about the purity of your precious bodily fluids. So let's just hope that the chain of command of the US military is enough well figured out that some general going insane cannot trigger thermonuclear World War III. But yeah, enough doom and gloom. As you can see in these nice graphics here, the exchange rate between Bitcoin and ruble has hardly been affected by the sanctions, while the US dollar to ruble exchange rate had this huge spike, which however when you scroll in already has fixed itself in the last few days. When you go to BISC, a decentralized crypto marketplace, you see that there is not much trading going on for now, which will probably change as soon as there is an actual gold standard introduced for the ruble. At the moment you can see that there is one person who actually wants to buy ruble for bitcoins. BISC is a decentralized crypto marketplace which is built on top of the Tor Onion routing network, and as such is not only decentralized using peer-to-peer technology, but has in addition to it this Tor anonymization layer. This makes it nearly invincible to government overreach laws which target exchanges and try to keep them from allowing Russian companies to circumvent restrictions put on them from the West. However, it still lacks the option of directly trading gold and silver for crypto instead of fiat currencies. I was informed by some friendly crypto anarchist on the Fediverse that there is an alternative marketplace on the Onion web called RoboSats, which allows for direct payment with gold and silver, and it allows you to basically have a physical exchange, or you can get your gold bars in the mail. This is a really nice place, and I will put this onion address in the description of this video so that you don't have to type the entire hash. In case you find yourself in the bad position of not having invested some of your income into assets which are not bound to fiat, maybe gold, other rare metals, or cryptocurrencies. It is not too late to prepare for the collapse of the petrodollar and all related Western fiat currencies which are tied to it. The move over from the petrodollar to a gold-backed ruble can actually be a really big jackpot if you go out now and buy gold, silver, and other rare metals from antiquity shops, from gold dealers, or you can just really buy Bitcoin right away. Don't get left out in the rain by being ignorant and not bothering to prepare for the worst case. Okay, the worst case would be thermonuclear World War III, the end of civilization as we know it, and you coming out of your basement into a thermonuclear winter with meter-high snow, fighting yourself through walls of snow just to find out that on the other side of this wall, radiation mutant zombies are waiting to eat your brains. But let's just say the economic worst case scenario. And for that one, you can still prepare. It's not too late. The economy has not yet collapsed. Well, I hope this video was somehow interesting. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you thought that my video was helpful and the argumentation convinced you, then of course I understand that you might want to keep your bitcoins to yourself at that point in time. If you think my entire content was totally stupid and you think I'm a paranoid prepper, thanks for watching so far through, and if you have some bitcoins left, please feel free to send them to this wallet here. I thank you so very much and see you all next time.